Hey, so I just had a series of intuitive downloads come through. I just finished watching a documentary on water and the power of water. People like Masuru Emoto, renowned water researcher, a bunch of different scientists from Russia and the Netherlands and all over the world discuss the incredible properties and characteristics of water. This documentary discusses how water is alive. Water is the only thing in the world that can be in 3 states: solid, gas, and liquid. Water, there's so much more to know about water than we have realized. So essentially, water behaves differently based on its surroundings. I know from using sound healing, I know that the frequencies that I make with my musical instruments, my sound bowls, and my voice, I know that they connect to the body through the water and work as a carrier to you when I do sessions with you, when you come to my events. This I know because I know that there are specific frequency waves and shapes made through sound vibrations, through energy, and that connects to the body. And that's when recalibration takes place. So, Masuru Emoto, the Japanese water researcher, became famous for many different experiments he did, but the main one that sticks out is the rice experiment. So he simply took 3 jars of rice and he put the same exact water source in each jar of rice. Now, the first jar, he spoke to it, and with his voice, he said, "Thank you." The energy, the sound waves that traveled through his body, his voice, connected to the water, he said, "Thank you." The next jar, he spoke to it, and he said, "I hate you." The last jar, he said nothing at all. Okay. Letting these jars be closed for 30 days, he went back and observed the state of the water and of the rice and what happened. So in the first jar, the rice was still white, the water had absorbed a bit, and it started to ferment, and it had a pleasant odor coming from it. The second jar, that was the jar he said thank you. The second jar, where he said I hate you, the rice turned black and was rotting. The final jar, where he said nothing at all, it was molding in a green, dark green color. This determines something very definitive, which is that our energy affects those around us. They talked about how it's so important to acknowledge others too. The third jar was not acknowledged at all. They said always acknowledge your children, always say thank you. Everything is listening, energy is listening and feeding. Water is alive and always listening to us and giving us back what we give it. Just think about that for a minute. Water is always listening and giving us back what we give it. So now I'm starting to understand the way of water, the behavior of water. The other thing is that certain music, so more series of experiments were conducted where, for example, Beethoven was played to water and changed the state of the water. So what they do is they would play Beethoven to water, then they would take that water and they would freeze it and then look at the patterns it would make under a microscope. And it would make perfect, beautiful snowflakes, perfect geometric, like snowflake shape, beautiful patterns. Then they would compare that with water where they had played like heavy metal rock music and it just looked crazy. It looked like all over the place, just like there were no patterns. It was just like a mess. You guys, this is huge news. This is huge. So water was also examined and taken electromagnetic field photographs of water in high frequency pure places in the world, like Our Lady of Lourdes, like Venezuela on the mountaintops, Okinawa in Japan, which is one of the 5 blue zones coined by Dan Buettner, National Geographic researcher. Studying the energetic state of this water with electromagnetic technology and photographs, this water looks completely different than the water that we get in our pipes in the US. The way water has to travel, water assumes the properties and energies of what it goes through, because water has memory. Water is encoded with memory. This is what we've learned from these experiments. So this is so wild, you guys. So I will be talking to my water. I will be blessing my water. I already intuitively have been singing to my water because I intuitively felt that that was a way of blessing my water. But it's like when you think about how in all different religions we use water by way of baptism and blessing things, and like water has been sacred for years to humans, right? It's just really remarkable to think about. So, okay. So if what we say to water can impact the water and then impact us when we drink the water, there are other experiments that have been done where you do a practice for 5 consecutive days telling your water something, a beautiful blessing. You can say, "Thank you, God, for giving me this beautiful water. Thank you. And this beautiful water purifies my body and gives me perfect health." And that is when I had the aha moment. That is when I understood why our words are so important, why everything we say is a spell, right? That's where the word spelling comes from. Bruce Lee said that. The reason why what we say is so important is not just because it's words and we're listening to it. It's because the water in our body is decoding this, is capturing this energy, this energetic vibration we are transferring out loud. Our body is absorbing the energy of saying, "I love you, body. Thank you so much for being here." The water in your body is paying attention and changing its properties and its behaviors and its state, its shape, its patterns based on what you're saying. Go and Google Masuru Emoto on YouTube and look at the shapes that water made when it was spoken words of harmony, when it was spoken prayers and blessings. Look at the state of the water when it was prayed over by people versus when people sent it angry energy and thoughts of fear. They take samples of the water and they freeze it, and it looks completely different, you guys. We're made of 70 to 90% water, depending on what time in your life we're talking about. It's so important. I think about all the places I've traveled to in the different foreign countries and how my body always feels so different every time I travel to a foreign country. The water has almost everything to do with it. Wow. Also, the water I was talking about from places like Lourdes and Venezuela and Okinawa, Japan, when pictures were taken of the energetic fields around people who consumed that water, the energetic fields were totally different than their energetic state before they drank that water. Their body, it was more, their energy field was more bright, more glowing, more luminous, more expansive. Oh my gosh. this is like very exciting. This is very exciting to have this aha moment. I always feel so connected to water. I always have. And like when I pull down, you know, my water tab and my sink there and it smells like chlorine, I'm so turned off by it. I'm so disgusted. I never ever drink that. I have a few different ways I purify my water, but I've been blessing it, and now I'm going to try some other mantras to bless it with, and I'm going to see what happens, and I encourage you guys to do it too. So I just wanted to talk about this because it's absolutely incredible. I've also got a plant that has been struggling for a long time, but now I'm going to talk to the water before I give it to her, and I'm going to see if that can help her come back to life. Yeah. Amazing. Nature is amazing and perfect. We really should start respecting nature so much more. The other thing was that water in a glass jar behaves so much different because the glass is smooth, and glass is something natural in nature, right? Made from sand and fire, like blown glass, which is, you know, that's what happens when you have sand and fire, I believe. Anyway, glass is natural, so that's why water always tastes so much better, because it's in a harmonious state. When water is in there, the frequency is better. It's a more pleasing frequency, the glass to the water. The water inherits it, whatever it's exposed to. So the energy of glass is much more pleasing and positive than being in a plastic bottle that has ridges, and plastic is chemicals, and then the water inherits those traits. Guys, is this making sense? Is this landing? This is so amazing to me, and I'm just like, it just makes so much sense to me. It resonates so much. Oh my God. I want some comments. I want to know what you guys think about this. This is amazing. I'm about to buy a microscope because I want to take ice cubes and stick them under there, and I want to look at these patterns. I'm so excited about this. Yeah, this is like what I learned in college also when we studied cymatics, and when we were just studying frequencies. We were just studying sine waves through music and through vibrations. So we didn't use water and ice, we used sand, and we used a metal plate, and we vibrated pitches of music underneath that metal plate and threw sand on it, and then we saw the perfect geometric patterns and shapes that it made, or the chaos that it made if we were playing heavy metal music. And then when we were playing classical music, it did something totally different. It made the flower of life. So don't take my word for it. Go on YouTube and watch some videos of this. It's an amazing phenomenon. Yeah, skip the reality TV and go watch this documentary about water. It was so incredible. I watched it on the Gaia network. So cool. But on YouTube for free, you can look up videos of Masuru Emoto about water. Amazing. Love you guys. Talk soon.